There was a girl named Karyn. She was from Norway. I believe she was actually a Miss Norway or something like that, a beauty queen. She was a really lovely girl. She was very friendly, very open, kind of person that makes friends. She was playing a text MUD called LegendMUD. It's been around since '93 or so. You know, she really enjoyed the game. She brought her friends into it. She spoke English really well. The game was all in English. Some of her friends didn't. They didn't speak it as well, and she introduced them into the game, translated for them. You know, they got to form quite a nice, cohesive little group. They made a lot of friends with other people all around the world on this MUD. And they formed a group. They called themselves the Norse Traders. You know, formed a little mercantile group or something. Everything was good. And then one day people started noticing, hey, the Norse Traders, you know, the group seems to have kind of fallen apart. It's kind of disintegrating. It's like something's missing. And people went and they fought back, and they realized that the problem was that Karyn was missing. She hadn't been seen in several months. And, you know, without the center of the group couldn't hold. So some of her friends decided to try to find out what had happened, and they started to investigate on the internet. And what they found was a web page put up by Karyn's parents. And the web page said, we know that Karyn had a lot of friends out there in the real world that she only knew via the internet, and we have no idea how to reach them. So we're putting this up to let them know what happened. And it was a scanned image from a newspaper article. Karyn had been test driving a new car and was in a collision and had died. And it had happened months before, and nobody on LegendMUD had known. What they'd noticed her absence. They'd noticed that the social ties, the community, the friendship, those things had grown weaker because she wasn't there. But people come and go. Nobody noticed that Karyn herself hadn't been there, hadn't logged in for a while. And of course there was a huge outpouring of grief, right? People went into mourning. It was a real shock to the system to find out, here's somebody that we valued as a friend, didn't notice that they were missing for 2 months, and then find out she died, and we didn't even know. Now there's a garden of remembrance on LegendMUD. There's the immortals who run the MUD, the administrators, set up a room where there's a tree, and they changed the laws of physics for the game in that room so that the things that are dropped there remain forever. And that room, to this day, is full of bouquets of flowers set by the base of the tree. And it says, in memory of Karyn. People say that virtual worlds are less real, that the ties aren't as substantial because, well, you've got to meet somebody face to face to really know them, or whatever. And, you know, I always say it reminds me of that old children's book, The Velveteen Rabbit, with the rabbit who desperately wanted to be real with a capital R. You know, and in the end, the rabbit becomes real through love. Right? The love of the child who owned the rabbit is what makes it real. I think people who say that virtual communities aren't real communities, and I hope it doesn't take something like the experience we went through in losing Karyn, but, you know, I think it's unfair to say that they're not real with a capital R. I'm not going to let anybody tell me that that wasn't real. Nobody's going to say that the friendship wasn't real, because I know the grief was definitely real.